Tavete, and this is Afrimax. It's a journey across the entire continent into a variety of cultural work. We highlight the creative spirit in Africa and how it affects the design space, from the history that defines us to the future that is waiting.
I always look for those three things: history, culture, and heritage.
Showing how culture transforms. Even though the potency of it is kept and the ritual of it is kept, there is a change that happens that is developing with the times.
It is not only for today, it is for future generations.
On this show, we'll be talking to the movers, shakers, visionaries, and makers who embody the meaning of modern Africa.
Let's hope I don't burn.
We get to the heart of African design philosophy to find out what makes creatives tick, with designers who are breaking boundaries and making waves internationally.
We'll reveal that secret.
What inspires them and what traditional influences are being brought into the modern age?
We endeavor to tell stories of African culture so that they're not forgotten, because we don't write things normally. With what we do here at the Urban Native, we're really just trying to preserve what we can the way that we can.
Combining different African pieces from different countries do help project, and then they are connected. We are able to connect to the heartbeat of Africa.
Join us as we seek out the continent's finest design innovation, from interior and architecture, fashion, food, and the arts. It's all on Afrimax, coming soon on DW, and it starts on August the 5th. Try this.
Kuhusu Mama Jabali.
Usijaribu kutukana mamangu.
She's the greedy one.
And what evidence do you have?
It's written all over her face. It's extremely annoying. Nayo.
Nape Jabali nyumba alafu unasema ni kidogo. Hiyo ni nini kama sitama?
Ni kama inakuwa ngumu kukuelewa.
So you're now arguing with me, right?
I'm sorry.
You're still doing it. What did you just say?
Christine.
Trish! You know, these are some of the reasons why couples hurt each other. Jane, why are men like this?
You just need to sit down and discuss.
Well, that's quite interesting coming from you when you couldn't save your own marriage.
Wow.
Wakili. Yes. Tulikuwa na mkutano kweli leo.
Ningempata hapa, angejua leo ni siku yake ya mwisho duniani.
Today is the last supper for some people, and tomorrow, before the cock crows, 3 times. Kuna wenye watakuwa wamesema mimi sijui. Mimi sijui. No idea.
Don't enter association with a national criminal.
Yes, with a national criminal.
You know, Swahili women don't fight with fists. They normally fight with lessons. So you make them angry, they go inside, they say the lesson. And then you just read what you want to read to go back inside.
That is so peaceful. I can't say the same for
peaceful war.
Let me not say anything. I'm just my community.
The kissing.
How about tonight we...
Have dinner tonight?
Huh? Do you have feelings for me?
Yeah.
Huh?
When exactly are you going to stop avoiding me?
I'm not avoiding you. I'm really busy. Look, he's standing there waiting for me, see?
I don't see him standing there. He isn't there.
Charlene. No matter what she says now, I won't listen.
Hey, hold on. Now that you've found the Jenny you've been looking for, there shouldn't be any problems left to solve.
The global design industry, because I see other big brands manipulating our culture and selling it to us as their own, and it's quite sad. They're giving us second-hand goods instead of us giving them the originals. Why don't we set our own trend instead of absorbing what the world is giving us? That's why I've decided, you know what, I'm going to be original. I'm going to tell an African story through jewelry.
Soshanguve-raised Koketso Mpomusala created her own range of African-inspired statement jewelry that encourages South Africans to support local designers. Koketso is on her way to meet with her sister, who is both her biggest fan and most honest critic, to discuss the latest designs.
I bought you some goodies. What you these?
These are so pretty.
It's important for me to share my designs with someone I trust. My sister-in-law Rose, I treat her like my customer. I love. Okay, let me show you the next. If I make something and I get a bad reaction from her, I know that, okay, it means it's a bad design. So having her around me, it's actually quite important. She's coming in as someone from the outside, and she's very honest. Makes a bold statement, but simple.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it makes a bold statement. But you have to be careful, because you might spike, or someone.
Oh, Koketso, my sister. She just goes all out. You know, jewelry means a lot to her. It means everything to her. The workday has only just begun. Koketso heads to her studio to work with her team of very talented jewelry makers.
So today we'll be making statement Hamid Africa earrings, and Nati will be cutting, and then Eddie here will be hammering, which is texturizing. I'll be annealing the metal and then soldering, and then the Seho will be polishing and assembling the earrings. She's actually finishing everything off. I studied jewelry design with the Atteridgeville Jewelry Project. What they do is they concentrate more on the practical side of jewelry design. They saw that I was a gem, so they decided to make sure that I study further. So I did a short course in CAD, which is computer-aided design. It was quite intensive, but it was worth everything. After a few years in business, I applied for a scholarship to go study in Italy, and I was chosen as one of the 25 students. It was my first time being outside South Africa. I had to study jewelry design in Italian, and I didn't know that until I got there. But now I can proudly say I can speak a bit of Italian. Everything that I learned in Italy, I brought it home, and I'm sharing it with everyone around me. I learned from business management to graphic design to the history of jewelry itself, and also learned stone setting. I would say if I didn't go to Italy, I would still be the Kasi girl who's just working from hand to mouth. Principles of good jewelry design, the biggest one is quality and being unique and original. Because if you're not making good quality jewelry, who's gonna buy it? Who's gonna come back? I'm African. Why not tell the stories that I know instead of stories that are being told by somebody else? Like this other day, I dreamed of a snake and I was very stressed. I started reading about snakes, and there's positive meanings to dreaming about snakes. And then I was like, okay, now I need to come up with a design that resembles a snake, but doesn't actually look like a snake for people who are scared of snakes. Seeing people fall in love with what I do and appreciating what I'm giving them, it's quite amazing, and it's healing and fulfilling.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for watching KBC Channel 1. It is time for BizCheck. For the next 2 hours, we shall be having quite interesting conversations. The first hour, we shall be talking about matters e-mobility, how to ensure that electric vehicles are just being taken up by the market. The second hour, we shall be talking about the savings and investments culture in Kenya. My name is Betty Kiptum. Welcome to the program. Now, we want to start with that particular first conversation on matters e-mobility. Remember that the effects of greenhouse gases have led to climate change. Part of the contributors to greenhouse gas emissions are petrol and gasoline-fueled vehicles, which are most commonly used even in Kenya right now. So the electric vehicles are the alternative that have come to effect. Uptake is still a bit low, or under 500 electric vehicles in the country. There has been an increase over the past year or so. To have this conversation with us is Mandla Lamba. He is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Agility Africa and is joining us from South Africa. Thank you, Mandla, for joining us, and good to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Kiptu. How are you?
I'm very fine. Let's begin with just how far we are in terms of adaptation or uptake of electric vehicles in the African market. Please take us through that.
Yeah, it's been very slow, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It has been very, very slow. There are many issues that are stagnating the adoption of EV in Africa as a continent. One of the biggest ones is the energy crisis that we find our continent in. It's a crazy thing to be pushing an agenda of adoption of electric vehicles at a time where there's no electricity in most of the countries where we're pushing this in Africa.
Right. Since you have brought up the energy crisis there, of course, there has been quite a severe one in South Africa. When you say we want to use electricity to power the vehicles, yet we don't have enough electricity yet to power even the houses or, the places that we work. How is this going to pan out for Africa?
It's one of the reasons, Mr. Kiptu, that we made a decision as Agility to build charging and swapping facilities for scooters and charging for all electric vehicles that are powered by solar. We came up with a system that is able. We have I'll give you an example of our Agility Power 7, Power Boost 7, which is our charging system for cars. It can charge a car like a Jaguar, it can charge a car like a PM, all the electric vehicles, but a Jaguar I-Pace, we could charge it within 7 minutes. A car like a Tesla would charge at a maximum of 10 minutes, full battery from zero. It uses a solar backup. The solar is generated, the sun is generating the energy, then it has a transmission for usage and a transmission for storage. So when no one is charging, the energy that is generated is transmitted to storage until it's full. When it's full, it starts using the energy that is not being stored. This is the only way that we will be able to maintain a very sustainable adoption to EV. If we're going to rely from the government's provision of electricity, it's never going to work.
So you're saying that solar energy is going to be the solution for adaptation of electric vehicles. Solar energy is yet to be fully adopted in Africa. Well, when I speak for Kenya, most of our power comes from hydro as well as geothermal. So for solar energy, what will it take to just ensure that is taken up by the market?
You think that the approach to solar has been very wrong by a lot of businesses because they come into the market. There's a problem with people who are providing these solutions. And I like this question, Ms. Kiptu, because it speaks to the ills of the African continent. If you come from outside and you want to provide solutions for African people and your purpose is to make money from Africans, you will not understand the ills of our people. I believe that if companies like Agility, not just us, there must be more companies who come in the market and say, we will provide this energy solution in the solar form, but we're not going to charge people cash upfront to buy these systems. We provide a repayment plan where someone will be able to get this system at home. It generates and stores. When the weather is bad, it uses the energy that was stored. When the weather is good, it uses the energy that is being generated immediately. But people should not be buying it in cash. So the problem is the companies are foreign. They come from outside Africa. They come into our continent. They are trying to push this agenda. At the same time, they are charging upfront, and there is no buy-in. The moment we start rolling out, as we are planning to as Agility, to roll out even solar systems for residentials and businesses, our belief is that we will be, even in the Kenyan market, in the East African market, we will be doing the same thing where people will pay a small amount every month towards the purchase of the system, not even the rental, to own it, but not pay upfront, which will be in the same range as what they pay for electricity right now.
Clearly, there is an opportunity there, Mr. Lamba. There is an opportunity there, but as you're saying that most service providers are from external markets and really don't have a good understanding of the African market. So as a player in the African market, what exactly makes the African market unique, and what do you think that the African market needs in this sector?
The African market needs much more education. I believe that's the first thing. They need to be educated. They need to know that solar systems are not just for backup. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm on solar. We're not talking, there's no electricity in the Sandton region as we're speaking right now. And this is not a backup. This is a full off-grid system. So I'm trying to explain that so that you get it, because the problem we're having in our society today also is miseducation of the citizens in the continent, where they believe that electricity, backup electricity or solar is can only be used as an hybrid source that is used as a backup system. They don't know that you can go off-grid with the solar, and if you go off-grid, it becomes expensive. So it needs people who come from here, like Agility, like I'm saying, what we're doing ourselves is to ensure that the people are able to get it the cheapest way. And the only way is to come and install it. If someone says, I agree, here's an agreement, you sign, we install the system for you that will help you to store energy when weather is not good, when the weather is good, when the weather is bad, you have enough energy to use until the sun is back. It doesn't matter how many days it takes. If you can store up to 350 kilowatts at home, you are covered for the whole month if it happens that there's no sun for a couple of weeks. So these are the kinds of solutions that our African people need.
The kind of solutions that the African people need. Mandla, the African continent, and especially the countries near the equator or at the equator like Kenya, are very well positioned in terms of access to solar energy. There is a lot of sunshine across the year, and the opportunity is there. But we are still using other sources of electricity or sources of energy to just power our houses, power our machines. Why is the solar power adaptation very low in Africa?
I believe it's lack of knowledge. If the government was doing enough to educate people about it, a lot of people will be going into it.
So Mandla, there is the option of using solar, and also there is the option of using electricity. I mean, I don't think we can just survive on one and leave the other one. We have to work on all to ensure that we are bringing up the uptake of electric vehicles. On that front, the cost implications in terms of even accessing these vehicles, why aren't there more electric vehicles on African roads?
Because there's no infrastructure. Ms. Kiptu, if you like where you live right now, personally, where you stay, you've got 5 filling stations of petrol in a radius of about
Mandla, there we seem to have lost you. We are talking about matters e-mobility. We are trying to fix that link with Mandla Lamba. He is the Chief Executive Officer and founder at Agility Africa, and we are talking about how to drive up the access or uptake of electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are yet to be adopted much in Kenya and Africa across the continent, and Mandla is bringing a very interesting twist to it. He's saying that solar energy is one of the solutions to ensure that the electric vehicles are using solar-powered energy, and just a solution to the normal or the inconsistent supply of electricity in the African continent. And we have talked about the solutions, African solutions, and African service providers ensuring that they're making solutions that actually fit the African market, having a solid understanding of the African market. Now, we shall be getting back to that conversation in a little bit. Let's take you to the launch of the Ushanga initiative by the Tourism Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza. Let's listen into that.
Traditional African designs into their products. This project addresses the sustainable development goals that emphasizes to end poverty in its all forms, social inclusion, gender empowerment, among others. Despite their successes, Ushanga Kenya has faced its fair share of challenges, particularly from the middlemen who have taken advantage of the women by offering them low prices for their products. This has affected their profitability and threatened the sustainability of their businesses. The transition of Ushanga Kenya into a state body is a significant step towards addressing these challenges. Ushanga Kenya will be protected by a robust legal and regulatory framework that will safeguard their intellectual property rights and ensure that their products are sold at a fair prices. This safeguarding goes just beyond Ushanga, but includes all crafts like the stone carvings of Kisi and pottery from Nyanza, the wood carvings from Ukambani, and in the coastal areas and eastern regions, among others. The committee that I am commissioning today will be responsible for overseeing the transition process. The committee members have been carefully selected based on their expertise in various fields, including business, finance, and law. They will work together to develop a legal and regulatory framework that will guide Ushanga Kenya operations as a state body. The committee will also be responsible for developing a business model that ensures sustainability of Ushanga. This will involve identifying new markets for the products, exploring new products lines, and developing marketing strategies to reach a wider audience. The transition of Ushanga Kenya into a state body is not just a significant step towards protecting their intellectual properties rights and ensuring fair prices for their products. It is also a testimony to our commitment to promoting gender equality and women's empowerment at grassroots. As we implement the Kenya Kwanza plan, we must learn from the success of Ushanga Kenya. We must prioritize empowering communities and creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. By doing so, we can build a more inclusive and prosperous country that benefits all Kenyans. In conclusion, I would like to thank the committee members for accepting this important task. I urge them to work diligently and with dedication to ensure that there is public and...
That is the Cabinet Secretary of Tourism there, Penina Malonza, speaking at the launch of the Ushanga Initiative Transition Committee. Now, that particular committee is set to ensure that the intellectual property rights are going to be safeguarded, come up with policies and regulatory frameworks to ensure that the Ushanga industry, which will also include the stone cuttings, wood carvings, just the creative nature of the creative products produced by Kenyans are safeguarded and they access the markets that they deserve at the price that they deserve. That Hibak Said is on that bit. She shall be bringing us a detailed report on that a little bit later. We want to get back to our conversation on matters e-mobility, that is the uptake of electric vehicles. And joining me from South Africa is Mandla Lamba, the Chief Executive Officer and Founder at Agility Africa. Mandla, I'm sorry we had lost you a little bit earlier. I had asked you why we are so focused on, or rather what we need to do to ensure that more electric vehicles are on African roads. Please go ahead.
Yes, I was making an example. Thank you so much for having me back again. I was referring to you where you stay. I said, where you stay, say you probably have about five petrol filling stations in a radius of about 10 kilometers. And then when it comes to EV, you'll probably have one in a radius of 40 kilometers. Now, to come and tell people to move into electric vehicles at the same time, you only have one charging station in the whole of Nairobi. It will not be a feasible thing. So that's the reason why adoption will continuously be behind. So if the governments can start putting more interest in ensuring the construction of infrastructure, that's how the adoption is going to happen. When you wake up in the morning, you know you don't have to drive 40 kilometers before you charge your car. And if you want to travel a long distance, you'll have enough charging stations across the road until you arrive where you're going. So that's what is the most important thing. And a lot of EV players and many people who hop into the industry, young guys who are coming into the new companies who are hopping into the industry, they're looking to sell the product. And this industry needs an investment before you start making money. And that investment is going to have to be in the infrastructure first. And this gives governments an opportunity to make money at a time they couldn't make money with the oil industry because they are only taxing the oil industry. But with this one, they have an opportunity to earn a stronger and a bigger revenue if they play part in the development of the infrastructure, partnering with private companies like Agility and so forth.
So public-private partnerships on ensuring that infrastructure is available. I must say that in Kenya, the power-producing company KenGen has taken it up to ensure that there are more charging stations. Some of these public institutions are saying that it's within their medium-term plan to ensure that there is an increase in the infrastructure in that particular sector. Is this something that you also experience in South Africa, or is the situation different?
Yes, it's something that we are doing as well in South Africa. We also in the infrastructure business as Agility. We signed a partnership with a group in Zimbabwe where we will be installing the first time our charging stations, the Agility Power Pool 7. We are planning to do that in Kenya and other parts of the continent. So I believe that this is what is needed. Ms. Kipto. The more adoption of the vehicle is needed, the more infrastructure has to be uplifted. And also, it is important for governments to flex the regulations around new players coming into the market. If there's too much red tapes, we'll have a problem even in Kenya, young entrepreneurs in Kenya who want to enter the market. It will be a problem for them. This is a change, the beginning of a new world order system, which will allow now even Kenyans to get into this market and manufacture and play a bigger part. Because if this This is not done by the governments, including the Kenyan government, where the red tape that allows companies to manufacture, provide incentives for local entrepreneurs to play a part in the market. The problem you'll have a flood of electric vehicles that come from foreign land, the same way we do today with the petrol cars.
Right. I like that you've brought up the issue of manufacturing, because it is only until a few years ago that most African companies, I don't think, not African companies, African countries, I don't think over half of them actually have local assembly of vehicles. Most of the vehicles on African roads are imported from other continents. There's opportunity in the electric vehicle manufacturing market, considering that most of the raw materials, including cobalt, are sourced from Africa, exported to other countries, and then we get finished goods, that is the electric vehicles, at very high prices. Why can't Africa take up the opportunity that there is to just open up its vehicle manufacturing industry to focus on the electric vehicles?
Ms. Kipto, right now you are wearing earrings. That gold was made in South Africa or in Africa, in any part of the African continent. It was dug here. It went out of Africa and got beneficiated outside, and it came back as an earring that you went to buy at a store. If we allow that kind of, our governments allow that kind of setup, even in this space now, even what you're talking about, we have an opportunity. We've got lithium, we've got cobalt. These are the minerals that are needed. All the rare earths that are needed for the manufacturing of the vehicles are here. I've seen companies signing deals in Africa, signing deals with foreign manufacturers to supply and export the product. The reason why they would be exporting these minerals is because there's no players in the market. And the reason why there's no players in the market who are from local, who will promote localization, not assembly. Assembly is not enough. It's a good start, but it's not enough. Manufacturing must be done locally. The reason why there's no players locally is because the environment is not conducive for them to come into the market. They are either regulatory framework flaws that have led to entrepreneurs not even thinking about the industry. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done by the continent. And the beautiful part with this, we are at the beginning of a new world and the end of the old world. And if the African governments start playing part in the infrastructure, in the putting up of, if you go to China for an example, the governments in China will support the buyer by giving incentives. If you buy an electric vehicle, you get a support incentives by the government. And if you manufacture, you also get the same incentives. The same thing is happening in America. And yet, if you look at some of these countries, don't even have the minerals we have. We give them the minerals to empower their economies, yet we are suffering in our own. Doesn't make sense.
Indeed, it does not make sense. Mandla, Africa is a highly entrepreneurial market, and when you think about the entrepreneurial spheres that people are venturing into, it's ironic that these well, it's capital intensive, but also the output in terms of the profit potential as well as the job market potential is very high in the electric vehicle or vehicle manufacturing market, and well, the entrepreneurs are not thinking about it. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, what should be done to bring the minds of entrepreneurs into this market?
I'll share something with you that will probably shock you. We have one company. It's a big global player in the automobile industry. They manufacture cars. They manufacture cars in South Africa. Just to show you the flaws we have in our continent. They manufacture cars in South Africa. They are not a South African company. And then once the cars have been manufactured, the cars leave the country. They go to their country. And then South Africa buys back the cars from their country, so that the taxes won't be local. We make the cars for them, and they take their cars out of the country, and then they bring back the cars. Now we buy from them directly, though they were manufactured here. Just to give you an idea, these are things, the painful things that are happening in our continent. And we're hoping and praying that entrepreneurs can see the gap that is available. There's a gap. And I'm not excited to be, I was discussing this with our chairman in Kenya, Mr. Fred Muteti, and our CEO, the Elizabeth Nasaka. I was telling them that it's not just, it just doesn't have to be us. Even in Kenya, we had to promote that the market is ripe. It can't be just one company agility. There should be more companies that are coming into the market so that we can absorb the market for ourselves as Africans. That goes to even the issue of us expanding into the East African market. One of the things that we are doing in Kenya, we are opening our store on the 28th, on the 29th of this month at the Garden City Mall, and opening our offices officially on the 1st of May. But we're going to start with an assembly plant, which we're trying to promote localization. And then the next thing, we're doing manufacturing in Kenya. But there should be Kenyan players, as you are talking about entrepreneurs. So we are modeling this for them to say, if we come from South Africa and come into your country to do this, we're trying to show you that you can do it too. We are all Africans here. We can do this, all of us. We don't need to wait for African aid from outside. We've got the resources here. If the government flex because even if you were to look at us in South Africa, it took long to get even the approvals. It took more than a year to get some approvals that we needed in order to foster the energy transition into electric vehicles.
Allow me to interrupt you just a little bit there. We want to take our viewer to Kwale County, where President William Ruto is speaking at the groundbreaking of Macha Dam. Let's listen into that.
Lakini tulipata matatizo kidogo kwa sababu ya yale mambo mnajua. Lakini mimi ninafurahi ya kwamba ile kazi yote ambayo tulikubaliana pale nyuma, sasa tuko na nafasi ya kuyatekeleza. Moja yao ni mradi huu wa, tulianza mambo haya pale nyuma mpaka 2016 tukaenda kule Paris kuizungumzia na vizuri vile pesa itapatikana. Pale 2019 tukakamilisha yale kazi yote ambayo ilikuwa inahitajika, lakini tukawa na matatizo vile nimewaeleza. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie ya kwamba hii mradi kwa kasi inaanza na tunataka kukamilisha mwaka mmoja kabla haijafika wakati ambayo ingekamilika. And therefore, I am asking the contractor and the ministry to look at mechanisms of how we can expedite the delivery of the construction of this dam and all the infrastructure facilities that are related to this dam. If there are any issues the government of Kenya need to sort out, we have a very effective Minister for Water. I have confidence in her capacity to deliver on this project. Na ikikwama zaidi, mimi niko hapo kuhakikisha kwamba hii mradi ingefaa ikamilike 2026, karibu Septemba hapo. Lakini mimi niko na hakika ya kwamba tukijikaza vizuri tunaweza kukamilisha 2025. Ndio maji ipatikane, tuweze kutumia hiyo maji kwa kilimo, tuweze kutumia hiyo maji kwa ufugaji, na vile vile tuwe na maji nyumbani. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie watu wa Kwale ya kwamba serikali ya Kenya itafanya hii kazi, na sio hii dam peke yake. Hii dam ni ya muhimu kwa sababu tunaelewa matatizo ya maji katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ni vizuri wa Kenya tuelewe 80% ya Kenya ni arid and semi-arid, ni sehemu kame. 80% of Kenya is arid and semi-arid, and therefore water harvesting is a primary infrastructure for us to make good use of our arid and semi-arid areas, because water harvesting and water storage is a component of unlocking the potential of our arid and semi-arid areas, and especially the delivery of water for our towns and for our populations. Kwa hivyo ni jambo la muhimu. Pale tulikuwa tumepanga zile kubwa.
That is President William Ruto there in Kwale County, where he is ensuring that we are getting more water in terms of construction of dams. Macha Dam groundbreaking is happening today, and June Karisa is on that bit. She shall be filing a detailed report from that particular county. But of course, the government has been very vocal in terms of saying that they will increase water access for Kenyans through the digging of dams, and Macha Dam is just one of the many that are set to come. We get back to, let's get back to that particular listening. President William Ruto speaking in Kwale County. Let's listen.
And another 3,800 pounds of water, because water harvesting, water storage is a very important component of unlocking our ability to be able to grow enough food, create food security, deliver water to homes, and also deliver water for our livestock. Ndio tuweze kwenda mbele kama watu wa Kenya. Na hiyo ndio mpango yetu. Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie watu wa Kwale, mbali na Macha Dam, tuko na dam ya Umba, tuko na dam ya Machame, Waga Machame, tuko na dam ya Makamini hapa, tuko na dam ya Pemba kule. Nilikuja pale nyuma, tukaanzisha ile ya Nyalani, tukapanga ile ya Mukanda. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie zile zimesalia, nitahakikisha ya kwamba na governor wetu wa hapa Kwale, tuhakikishieni ya kwamba hizo dam zote ambazo nimezitaja na zile zingine ambazo tutakubaliana, zile dams ndogo ndogo, tuhakikisha ya kwamba tunazikamilisha ili watu wa Kwale wapate maji ya matumizi nyumbani, wapate maji ya mifugo yao, na vile vile tuendeshe mambo ya irrigation. Nimesikia vile mjumbe wenu Bwana Gonzi na ule mjumbe mwingine Bwana Safari wamesema kuhusu mambo yenu hapa. Mumesema hii maji, nyinyi ni watu wangwana, mnataka hii maji ifike Mombasa lakini ianze Kwale. Ndivyo mmesema? Mmesema ianze na Kwale. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka nikubaliane na nyinyi katika ile mpango yetu. Maji ya Mwache itapatiwa watu wa Kwale kwanza. Na ndio sababu katika ile mpango ya awamu ya kwanza, mbali na damu hii, katika ile pesa tuko nayo ni ile mfereji ambaye itaenda pale katika storage tanks ya Dongokundu, alafu kutoka Dongokundu italeta maji hapa Kwale. Na tumesema hiyo maji karibu 36,000 cubic meters of water itasaidia watu wa Kwale kwa mambo matatu. Itatuwapatia maji ya matumizi manyumbani, itawapatia maji ya mifugo, na vile vile tumesema ya kwamba tunataka ekari 6,200 ziweze kutumika katika mambo ya kuzalisha chakula kupitia unyunyizaji wa maji. Sijui kama mnanielewa. Wacha nirudie, kwa sababu sitaki mkose kuelewa. Alafu maji hii ambaye tunatumia pesa nyingi ya serikali kugaramia ije, alafu ikuje ikuwe ni maji ya hasara. Nyinyi ambao ni wakulima, governor wetu wa hapa, ma MCAs wetu wa hapa, nataka mpange vizuri ili hii maji isiende hasara. Tunataka hii maji, once this water is delivered, I want the county government to work with the Ministry of Agriculture so that we can use part of this water on 6,200 acres for irrigation, ili tuwe na chakula ya kutosha hapa Kwale. Tumekubaliana kama taifa ya kwamba tunataka kuongeza ardhi ambayo tunatumia kwa kuzalisha chakula. Leo tuko na ardhi ekari 1,670. Ndani ya miaka mitatu tunataka kuongeza maradufu hiyo ardhi ifike 1.2 million acres. Na kati ya hiyo 1.2 million acres ni hii ambayo tunasema 6,000 acres ya watu wa Kwale kupitia kwa mradi hii ya Mwache. Ile mradi ingine ya Umba, ile mradi ingine ya Makamini, ile ya Pemba, hiyo ingine ya Waga Machame. Hizo miradi zote tunataka pia itupatie ardhi ambayo tutatumia kuzalisha chakula. Na wale ambao watatumia hiyo maji kuzalisha chakula ni watu wa Kwale. Na tunataka mujipange vizuri. Kama mnahitaji matrakta, gavana wenu atapanga na mimi tuwaletee matrakta ya kulima mashamba. Kama ni infrastructure ya irrigation, tukubali taifa letu la Kenya. Sio eti kuwe na subsidy ama tuvae sufuria kwa kichwa ati ndio gharama ya chakula ipungue. Dawa ya kupunguza gharama ya chakula ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunawawezesha wananchi wazalishe chakula kupitia kuwapatia mbegu, kuwapatia mbolea, tuwe na maji kama hii, muweze kufanya irrigation, ndio kila mtu apate chakula ya heshima kwake mahali ambapo amezalisha hiyo chakula. Tunaelewana jameni watu wa Kwale? So nimesema hivi, we are going to deliver water for irrigation from this dam in the next 36 months. We're going to deliver water for irrigation. And I want a forward planning process between the county and our ministry so that that irrigation component is actualized and we can be able to stabilize the food situation in Kwale County. Kwa sababu bado tuko na matatizo mengi ya mambo ya chakula katika county hii yetu ya Kwale. Na mimi nitaifuatilia tuhakikisha kwamba hiyo maji inatumika jinsi vile tumeipangia. Vile vile napenda kuwatangazia kwamba maji ya Mzima tu ambayo imezungumziwa kwa miaka nyingi ilikuwa ni mpango yetu ya 2017 vile vile, lakini ilipelekwa lukumba mpaka ikakosa mambo. Leo mimi nataka niwatangazie nitarudi hapa baada ya miezi mitatu, maximum 4 months, nitarudi hapa kuianzisha rasmi. Tumekamilisha yale mambo yote ambayo yalikuwa yanahitajika. Wiki hii Jumatatu tulikuwa tunazungumzia funding ya hiyo program ya Mwache tu, Mzima tu. Na tunataka hiyo maji iwezeshe sisi tuwapatie maji watu wa Taveta, watu wa Undani, watu wa Voi, watu wa Mwatate, na iteremke chini tuwapatie watu wa Kwale na watu wa Kilifi kwa sababu ni maji mengi. Lakini nimesikia kidogo hapa mumenichanganya kidogo. Nimesikia kama waheshimiwa wamesema hamutaki maji ya Mzima. Ndivyo mmesema ama? Ama sikuwasikiza vizuri. Ni kama mlisema hamutaki. Si ndio? Si hata nyinyi mnahitaji maji ya Mzima? Si ndio? So hii ya Mwache mtapata. Na vile vile watu wa Mombasa watapata. Ile ya Mzima watu wa Taita Taveta watapata, watu wa hapa Kwale watapata, na watu wa Kilifi pia watapata. Tunaelewana? Na hiyo ndio undugu ya Wakenya wote. Ni gawane zile rasilimali tuko nazo, ndio kila mtu apate kipande na tuweze sote kama Wakenya. So niendelee na kupanga mambo ya Mwache ya kule Mzima. Waheshimiwa, ama mlisemaje? Mimi naona kama mlisema ati kuja na meli, so mambo ni mengi. So nataka tukubaliane hivyo. So I also want
That is the President William Ruto in Kwale County, where he is officiating the launch of Macha Dam. He says that irrigation through the water from that dam is going to empower the lives of Kenyans. He says that that water will first be accessed by residents of Kwale County, then given to residents of other neighboring counties, including Mombasa County. Well, Junai Karisa is on that bit. She shall be filing a detailed report from Kwale a little bit later. We want to continue with our conversation with Mandla Lamba, the Chief Executive and founder of Agility Africa, and we have been talking about matters e-mobility. Mandla, before we joined the president there, we were talking about matters access to ensuring that the manufacturing sector is taking up vehicle manufacturing. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I really want to urge, actually, mostly the government of Kenya and the governments of East Africa, that the market must be opened for local players. And the only way to open the market for local entrepreneurs to enter the market is to flex and reduce red tape with the processes of registering to become, and I'm happy to know that Kenya takes three weeks to a month to even get the process of entering, the first certification that is required for the industry. I learned that a few weeks ago, and I was so happy to hear that, which shows that there is something that the government in Kenya is doing that other parts of Africa don't do. It took us longer to even get that first one. In some parts of the continent. But I believe that we have reached the age and time where Africans have an opportunity to steer the next industries. We are tired of having industries being pioneered outside our continent, and then we come and ride on other people's successes when our resources are being used for their glories and successes, while their resources can be used for the empowerment of our own people and the turbocharging of our own economies and creation of jobs. We've had a problem, Ms. Kiptu, of jobs that have been lost during COVID-19 that will never be recovered because some of these companies will never open again. Mm-hmm. Some of these companies are in the old order of form of businesses that will not survive in the digital world that we're going into, the green revolution. Mm-hmm. So to create new jobs, you're going to need local players who understand the kinds of jobs to create. Foreign entities that are coming from outside Africa, all they will do, they will come and they will bring their own people and hire a little bit of our people. And once they are done, they expatriate the money out of our continent. It doesn't help to empower any African. So I think it's time. This is the revolution where God has given Africa an opportunity to redeem itself. And I believe that our expansion into the East African market will actually set that example, even for the local entrepreneurs. We are even open to assist the governments, not just in Kenya, in the African continent, entrepreneurs too. We are open to say, if you say you want to get into the industry, you want to start your own company and manufacture your own, you can come to us, we'll assist you to do that. Okay. Because we understand if we don't do that, the next players that will be competing in the market is going to be foreign. Okay. We would rather have our own brothers developing the economy than people who will take and live with the money.
Mm-hmm. Mandla, as you earlier said, this particular venture is very capital intensive, and access to funding has of course been an issue. Do you think that there is enough focus in terms of access to funding in this sector?
Yes, there is an issue of shortage of funding, but I can tell you right now, one of the most beautiful things about the access to funding that is not available for many people, but with this industry, funding is accessible. The only thing that entrepreneurs need to know, they need to start. You can't be funded while you're sitting and waiting for funding. You need to start building something from what you have. You may say, I have nothing. But if you start, there will be someone who will be interested to lend a hand. That's how we started. We didn't start with funding. We funded the businesses, we advanced. We have never taken money from any third-party investor. We are where we are today, the biggest pioneer of EV in Africa. But it all came from us starting and believing that it is our time to do it for Africa. So if the entrepreneurs can have that mindset and believe that they don't need to wait for funding, then they will be able to attract people, because the industry is ripe. Investors are looking to transition. We are now going into a market crash where investors are going to lose money if Kenyans are not using this opportunity to make money. To go into the market and grow the industry. This particular industry is the industry that money is coming into. You can look at the size of Tesla in America. Tesla is bigger than Toyota, BMW, Jaguar. You can name them. You put them together in a basket. The value of all of them, though they've put more cars on the road, they are smaller than Tesla put together. That goes to tell you that the industry is ripe. All we need is entrepreneurs who are hungry to enter the market, and a government who's willing to build or create a conducive environment for any entrepreneurial drive in the industry to succeed.
Right. So, Mandla, as we come to a close of the conversation, what do you see in terms of the future of e-mobility in Africa?
It is a greater future than any other industry. I'll be very honest with you, because this is one of the greatest pillars of the New World Society, the Green Revolution. And the resources to make products in this industry are from Africa. Are we going to go back and waste time and do the same thing we did with gold, where today gold is mined in Africa, is beneficiated outside, it comes back as a finished product? Or are we going to take this opportunity and say, we are doing it? It's not going to be easy. There's going to be fights against this, because there are countries that believe that we should be enslaved. Our resources must be given to them, and they use them to empower themselves while we suffer. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be achievable if we all come together as Africans and start building Africa for ourselves.
Coming together as Africans and building Africa for ourselves. That is the message there from Mandla Lamba, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Agility Africa. Thank you very much, Mandla, for speaking with us.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Karibu sana. Well, we want to take a quick break here on BizCheck. When we come back, we shall be talking about matters savings and investment. What to do, what not to do, where to put your money, and just what risks you can take. This is BizCheck. We come back in a little bit. Stay with us.
On the move, riding hot. Wait for impact.
Watangu wawili wamependa sarakasi yenu hapo majamaa. Acha scan for possible gunmen. Checking north.
Nini moto?
Wangu darana.
Uni anakusika. Ni alikusika.
Na wakufarasane na wad aku imade.
Sawa, alikuwa amegongwa kidogo, lakini si ati.
Kuna wezekano kuna mwingine alikunywa mafuta na akakimbia na mkasema ni mimi.
Hapana, hii sura yako siwezi kusahau. Siwezi sahau kabisa.
People they look alike, si ndio? Si ndio?
Wewe huwezi kuwa na look alike na anybody. Wewe uko peke yako.
Nini? Kuna mahali wewe ulishikwa ulikimbia na pesa ya mafuta?
Ya Rabbi. Hapana.
Na pato utamuita huyo ya Rabbi au jemuita utamuita. Wewe unawekeanga watu mafuta hapo?
Hapana, niko address ile niko hapo.
Are you attendant? Are you attendance?
Niko na attendance.
Sasa unamaliza attendance. Yeye ni attendance.
Yaani yeye ndiye anawekeanga watu mafuta mwisho.
Sio amesema yeye ndio mwenye petrol station.
Shut up. walk out. Slowly but sure. Exactly.
The reins once and for all. Live your own life. Can't you see that the man loves you? He's always after you.
Yes, but then...
To clear the air with him, is that so hard to do?
No, it's not that easy.
It's Daddy, where's the revenge? What did you do to him, Daddy? How is he?
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
A bottle! But I gotta tell you something. I'm a little jealous, okay? Because the professor knows more about you than I do. No one can take away the woman I love.
What are you going to do?
I'll get her back.
How about tonight we...
Have dinner tonight?
Huh? Do you have feelings for me?
Yeah.
Huh?
When exactly are you going to stop avoiding me?
I'm not avoiding you. I'm really busy. Look, he's standing there waiting for me, see?
I don't see him standing there. He isn't there.
Charlene.
No matter what she says now, I won't listen.
Hey, hold on. Now that you've found the Jenny you've been looking for, there shouldn't be any problems left to solve.
Many thanks for staying with KBC Channel 1. You are watching BizCheck and we are now in the second hour of the program. My name is Betty Kiptum. Remember, you can interact with us online. We are at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter and on Facebook. And my personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum. Do tell us your views, your thoughts on the conversations during the program. I shall be sure to sample some of your views. Now, we want to talk about matters savings and investment. Well, I don't know if you're keeping up with your investment goals that you wrote down at the beginning of the year, but just to help you on that journey, we want to have that conversation, look at the investment options and also what risks you should take depending on where you are financially. To have this conversation is Dominic Mburu. He is the director of Home Point Investments Limited. Thank you for joining us, Dominic.
Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
So just give us an overview of what investment options are there for Kenyans.
Thank you so much. I think it's always a good time to invest. Someone said that the best time to invest is 20 years ago, and the other next best time is now. And I think it's good to have this conversation because investment is an aspect of thinking about the future. And I think I'll come from the perspective of what I do, because we are at Home Point Investment Limited. We do real estate investments, especially on vacant land. And it's one of the frontier that is easy to access, especially when you deal with companies, because companies give you an opportunity. You can maybe not have money in one place. You can pay in installments. And you know, most of the time when you, for example, today you see a property and you think, let me go and save the money, come with cash. Maybe I'll take a year and then I'll have the cash and then I come back and buy. By the time you come, the property maybe you saw at 1 million. You come with 1 million 1 year later, it is at 1.5. But what company does, they allow you to, you'll be able to lock the offer at the price you find it at. Then now you can, instead of now going to save somewhere else, you'll be saving as the property, the price or the value goes up, but you have the purchase price will remain the same. So as Home Point Investments, that's what we do. And it's one of the best frontier in terms of also, because when you look at housing, because you can also buy ready houses, but sometimes they are very capital intensive. But land, you're able to buy at your pace. You can build at your pace. You get little money, you build at your pace. So one of the things that I can say is very important and has helped in investments, because as long as you buy something that is genuine, especially land, You can never get it wrong. They are always hiking, and land is the only thing that you can buy today and tomorrow you sell at a higher price. If you buy a car today, which is also something you can invest in the next 1 month, it will have depreciated.
In fact, it depreciates immediately it comes out of the showroom.
Immediately you leave a showroom, it has started depreciating. Land, on the other hand, which is one of the best investment, and in fact, of all the investment that you talk about, land, other than the fact that it is also capital intensive, it's able to lock your investments and appreciate over time. The only downside maybe to it is that maybe you may need money today, but you're not able to liquidate it at the moment, because it's about getting customer and someone who is willing to buy where you are selling. So sometimes people who want maybe money, to get money immediately to solve an emergency is not the best. However, it's an enabler to access maybe to credit. Sometimes you don't even have to sell anything. You can take your title, go to a financial institution, then you'll be given money that now you can use to solve your issue, and then later as you pay, your land remain intact, it's still hiking in terms of value, but at the same time you have reserved it and you have been able to solve your emergency. So that's why it is able to solve it, solve the two sides, that you can retain it and still enables you to be able to make other investments outside it. There are people who maybe feel, I have some 1 million, I can buy shares, which is a good investment, but you realize the day you need that money, you'll have to liquidate the shares, and then you'll have nothing. But if you have land, the title deed, you can go to any financial institution, you get money worth your title, you go and you are given time to pay over time, and at the same time, by the time you finish paying, the value of the property you had has hiked. So that's why as a home point investment, you help people to invest in land. But I would want only to talk about land only. There are other means of investing, because there are things like shares, there are things like stocks, there are government bonds that people can buy. There are also high risk, high return investments. For example, you can go and take a loan and buy a matatu, public transport, a vehicle or Uber. It gives you money. From the day you start using it, you start making money. The only issue is in 1 week it can disappear. One day you may have an accident and it's all gone. So, but it's high risk but also high return, because in 1 year, maybe that car has bought another car, if you're able to do the business running. But there are also others. For example, there are policies. There are insurance policies that people buy that has an essence of life insurance at the same time an investment. But that I mean, today you may have some money. Maybe I don't have 1 million to buy land or to buy stock, but I have 20,000. I know every month I'm getting 20,000. Some people will think, let me put it in a saving account. But for me, I have found the best option. There is an insurance, there are insurance stocks you can buy policies, you can invest in the money market. But what you do is, especially for policy, you are able to buy today, and it has an attachment with a life cover. But that means that if anything happens to you tomorrow, the contract that you had, for example, I was saving 20,000, and in 10 years I was to be paid 2 million. If I pay one installment and I die tomorrow, the company will pay my beneficiary the 2 million, whether I invested or not. So it has covered you, and at the same time, if you outlive it, you'll get your money. If you are not there, because one of the reasons why we invest is about tomorrow, is about our dependent. It's about those people who look up to us, and the things that, sometimes there are people who live a very good life now. But if the breadwinner is not there, the whole family goes down. So it's good to diversify investments. And as I'm mentioning here, there are many, and I do believe maybe we'll get time to go maybe into a bit
of it.
Yes.
Before we get into the investing bit, of course, you're not investing nothing. You have to have something to invest.
Yes.
Kenya's saving culture is very poor.
Very.
Yeah, it is way below the African average.
Yes.
Including our own neighbors, Uganda and Tanzania.
Right.
What do people need to do to improve their saving culture on a personal level?
I think the first thing is from our education system. I think that's where it should start. Because I think something like entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skills should be honed from the time as a child is very young. You know, if today you are giving pocket money to your child, they need to know that this money is not only that I use it for now. I can put this money somewhere. I can use some, but save some. They're supposed to start at that level, because saving is a culture. It's not something you just pick and start. It's a culture. And you realize in our culture it's not there. We are even in our education system, especially the 844, you are taught you become a grade A student, you go and get your job, and you'll have constant salary throughout. So some of us were victims. I don't know whether to use the word victim, but we were trained, excel in education. No one was even thinking about business. I would have fruits in our local village, but when they grow and there are so many, they will not think about, there are people who don't have these things. So I can take some and go and sell, make some money. But what I would do is they will be there, we'll give to people, we'll eat, the rest we just throw away. But if you have entrepreneurial skill, everything you get 1,000, you see this 1,000 is a seed that can give me 2,000 tomorrow, or 1,000 next week, or double in the next 1 month. So it's a skill that is not very automatic. It's supposed to be honed and developed over time. And that's why I think in our syllabus and in our curriculum, that's where it should start, that entrepreneurship is a must. Nowadays, and I'm involved in so many programs where we are training our youth on entrepreneurship, something as we never got. We had to do it the rough way, but nevertheless, it's something that you realize, people, when you speak to people, it opens their mind. They realize that we have this oven in our home, it's just there, but I can make cakes. I'm gifted in this thing. I can bake some cake. I can start selling to my friends, you know. And over time, people start thinking that start realizing that I can start with the little that I have, because everyone has something, you know. Nowadays, we are living in an era where, in the past, if you made jokes in school, you'd be in for a punishment. Nowadays, you realize the people who are making money, they are making money out of those jokes.
There you go.
So if you are able to train people that even entrepreneurship, sometimes it's in terms of skills. It's not about the capital in terms of money. Use the skills you have, hone them, and get out there. Nowadays, especially in the age of the digital era, you're able to showcase yourself even from your own house. You don't have to say, I need to be seen by Churchill, or I need to be seen by this person, or I need to be discovered. You can start with your own phone, smartphone. You can speak to the world and showcase your skills and stuff like that. There are people even who today, they draw people and they post them on social media, and the people who see them, they want to give them that work. So it is start small, it start from the beginning. Is a skill that need to be taught in terms of entrepreneurship, both of skills, talents, and the retro capital that people have. Yes.
Very important pointers. You just reminded me there when you mentioned people starting where they are.
Yes.
Justin Bieber was a YouTube artist before he was discovered,
right?
You know, and became the big name that he is.
Yes.
Right. So of course, using what you have to create, you know, something for yourself.
Start somewhere.
So now, when you're deciding on what investment to go for, what do you need to consider?
A wise man once said that information is power, and also I think information is money, because the most important thing is to know, because there are a wide array of investments that you can make. Today you get a child and you realize you just delivered a child. You know very well that in the next 10 years this child will be in school. And today maybe you are more agile and you know, we can say you can be able to hustle in several things, that today I can start thinking about the schooling and the school fees of this child now. And that's why you find, for example, there are education policies which a parent will want their children to go to the best school, but they will not start thinking when this child is born. So you realize people who get the information, for example, you'll think, let me buy an education policy, I'll be saving 10,000 per month or 20,000. Today I can hustle here, throw this money here, I can buy money markets. I'm able to do that now, so that in the next 10 years, you realize from there, my kids' school fees is taken care of for the rest of their lives. You know? And another thing, I can buy a plot today, there are plots even up to 150,000 or 100,000. I can buy that. and leave it there. I don't even have to do anything. Stay with my title. In the next 20 years, it will not be the same price. So the whole issue here is the aspect of knowledge, seeking knowledge. And this knowledge is out there. People nowadays, as you said, Kenya, we have a very poor saving culture. But funny enough, it's going hand in hand with our ignorance. Because in terms of people rarely read. You know, they watch things. Everyone is now into comedy and stuff like that, which are good. But I think they're supposed to be there during your free time. This information is out there. You read stuff. You talk. You have mentors who can guide you that this is what you can do. And also you understand, me Nikona, I have 500,000. What can I do with 500,000 that will give me money? Because it's good to know which investment to go where based on what you have. I have been given pocket money. There are even people, when we are in campus, there are people who used to get their help. And when they get the loan, some of the people will, because maybe the parent will pay the rest, they eat the money. But there are people who you are very entrepreneur, they realize all these people need to take breakfast. So they will order those cakes and yogurt and whatever, and you guys are flocking into their small shops, and they made a lot of money at the expense of the other students who are thinking of living today. Because the issue of saving and investment is about thinking about tomorrow. I realize our youth are saying you only live once, so everything they get is about having fun today because tomorrow they don't know. But one thing that is exception is about thinking about tomorrow. So information and knowledge is very important, because knowledge, they usually say knowledge is the information, understanding is comprehending the information you have been given, and wisdom now is the application. Yeah, so you need to have knowledge, you need to have understanding of the knowledge you have, because there's so much knowledge out there. You need to go and sit down, understand these concepts, and now know this is where I best apply. And that's now the wisdom in terms of investment. Yes. Wisdom in terms of investment, and it's something that you have to keep seeking every day. You have to. Right. So now let's get to the nitty-gritties of the investments. Yes. Assuming someone wants to purchase land. Yes. What do they need to consider, and how can they especially protect themselves from con men and con women? Yeah. Yeah. I think the first thing first is understanding what you have. For example, if you have 200,000, 300,000, and you are in Nairobi city center looking for property to purchase, I would say you are daydreaming. It's good also to understand the scope. First of all, understand this is my budget. So therefore, my budget guides me to where I'm going. For example, yes, you may also say that I have 200,000 today, but I'm expecting to get some other 1 million in the next several days. So the scope of what you can get in terms of capital would guide me in terms of where I will purchase. The next thing is, if you have that, then there are the procedures, because the issue that some people like investing, but they are not very diligent in terms of putting in the checks and doing their due diligence to know where I'm investing, because there are people who wake up every day targeting your money. It may be in your bank, it may be in your pocket, lakini hiyo ndo imepangiwa. So what you need to do is, once you identify this is my budget, I have found people who are selling this money, this amount of, the cost of buying this land is at this or almost there. Then take the first step. Go to, for example, if it's an office, a company that is selling, or is an individual, the most important thing is, first of all, meeting with them. If it's a company, it needs to have it's not supposed to be a briefcase. It's supposed to find a physical location of this business. How long has it been operational? Are they registered? Is it a company that has a certificate of incorporation? Do they have the license to operate from the county government of that area? Then once you see that, go to the ground. See exactly what is being sold. So site visits are very important. Land is not something you just buy online, like they deliver with with the means of delivery. Yes. You need to go to the ground, survey the area, look at the map. For example, if there are many plots, choose one, the one that you feel it's fitting what you need. Because in every, for example, I may be thinking about commercial land. Then you find you are buying it near the river. You have lost it. Yeah. So you need to know, for example, I want to do farming. You need, so what do you check for? I need water. Is the area feasible for farming? You know, I need to buy residential. I want to stay here. Do I have access? How are the roads? How is the security? Because there's even sometimes you may find a very good deal, but there's the reason why they are selling that way. Maybe the owner ran away because they couldn't sleep or chased away. So security is another thing. I have children. They need to go to school. Are there accessible schools and public facilities and amenities? Find out from the ground all those things. And when you are there, don't be in a rush. They are neighbors, because I don't believe you are buying in a desert. Want to find out from the locals. They'll tell you. Some of the issues people miss even when they are doing due diligence, because they take the title, go and do a search, but they'll miss some things. Because some of these issues come up after you have bought or you're in the process of buying. So, but the neighbors will know, those brothers, well, they have issues. They have not come out, but these issues are there. There are angles, they may not be reported. When you do a search, it will come out, but there are things that are simmering below the scene. Yeah? So, talk to the neighbors, find out especially the history of the land, also find out about the way they live there, the security and other things that you may need. There are people who tell you, this road is being built. Maybe it's not yet tarmacked. Want to find the neighbors will know if it's being tarmacked in the near future. Have they heard about it? Because a company in Nairobi cannot know about more information than people who live in a certain place. Yeah. So find out from the ground. And now when you live there and you are satisfied, you have checked the dimension of something you are buying, now go and take the title, go and do a search. And when you are at it, buy what you call the RIM, the map. That is the indexing map of an area, which shows that plot. Is it registered in the surveys of Kenya? Is it captured? Because there are people who are taken to the ground. They see a very nice place. Lakini, the truth of the matter is the land they are buying is not that one. It may be the neighbor, lakini the way it is, the topography is not so good. So you are not shown that one. You are shown a different one. You like it. Because they know if they showed you the real one, you will not buy. So once you buy is the time you realize, I saw this one, but my plot was not this one, it's another one.
The other one, yeah.
So it's good you buy the map. It will be able to place your plot in regard in relation to the ground. You'll be able to tell this is exactly how I saw it. Once you buy that and you have the search, now you can go and do the deposit, and from there start the issue of the title transfer, and then from there you can clear the payment and do the rest. And then once you get the title, even if it's in your name, go back to registry
and confirm.
Do a search
that
again.
It's actually in your name.
Yes, that it was actually registered. Kenyans are very also industrious. They can go and print some things. So go and to the registry again on your own. Go and do those search and find whether the land was actually, the green card captured that. Yes.
While we are in this conversation, I would like to hear from you your thought about investing when you're, say, in the diaspora.
Okay.
When you're in Kenya, you have the luxury, so to say, of going physically there. If you're in the diaspora, you're seeking to invest in land in Kenya, and we have heard stories. You know, people have invested in their brains, but when they come, there's nothing through family and all that. What is the best way to go about it, and maybe what are the red flags that they need to look out for?
For example, in Home Point Investment Limited, our biggest clientele are diaspora clients. And in this digital era, in fact, most of the people who are out there have more information about land that is being sold here. You realize they are the ones who are telling their parents or their relatives, I have seen this and this. You know, they are mostly online. So they're able to see some of these things. We have the meta technology that is coming up, which I do believe in the near future, you'll be able to go for site visit without going physically. And it's an area that we are waiting for as it progresses. But how we have been doing it is, one, we go live. During site visit, we know as we take others, you may not be near. There are people, first of all, who trust their family. You have no problem with trusting someone, send them. Let them do everything if you trust them. And it needs to be someone who you fully believe that they have your interest at heart. Because sometimes you even find you send someone who is not, first of all, they are not themselves the investor. So you tell them about land, they are not interested, they go to the ground and They're just feeling I wouldn't buy, because sincerely they wouldn't. Otherwise, even them themselves, they had money, they wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
So you may send someone who is not an investment-oriented person, they will tell you very bad things. They tell you, you went for an hour. For them, an hour is end of the world.
Oh, it's a long time.
It's a very long time. They will just tell you, it's too far. You know, so there are people who send their families, but over time, people have grown to distrust their families. There are a lot of issues that are coming up. You send your, even parents, sometimes, you send your sister, once they come and see, we have had people who sent their relatives, they came and viewed, they send money to them to pay. They didn't.
Yeah.
But they tell them they are finished. They just even tell them how to have to pay title. They are not giving us titles. But actually they didn't buy. Some of them will even come and do a 10,000 deposit and disappear. Yet they got the money. Only for someone to come on holiday and come to your office breathing fire, that where is my land? And you don't even know, because this person, yes, they may have come to view, but they didn't do anything. They even took some photos when they are on the site visit, only to realize they didn't buy. So over time, even people rather deal with people I don't know than my own family. So there are people who use family or friends. Others will trust the company, just do a live for me. We go to the ground. If you are showing me that this is plot number 14 that I need to buy, do a live for me. We have drone shots and stuff like that. You'll be able to view. They will tell you, let me see the neighborhood when you're on the ground. And of course, the other customers are there. Yeah. And then from there, they are able. And of course, with a track record, we have been in this business for 6 years and of delivering. So over time, there are even people who are return customers who will invest anytime. They even tell you, once you open a new phase, just give me a commercial one. And they pay. And over time, we send them titles. Sometimes we even have meet and greet. We take their titles wherever they are. In the Middle East, in the US, we take them the titles. And then from there, you are able to build a trust, a journey. But that comes from a journey of working with them.
Now, Dominic, the industry has not been without its ills. There have been companies that have taken people's money, promised heaven and earth, and delivered nothing.
Yes.
People have lost life savings, you know, to the industry, to some industry players. What is being done to ensure that things are right, so to say?
I think sometimes the necessity is the mother of all inventions. And I think the problem that has been there is affect even the people who are doing genuine business. And one thing we have realized is that unless we work together in this industry, because most of these companies, people will come and have a fiasco somewhere, do fraudulent deals, and when things start getting heated, because the company, the government will chase the company, but someone will close that company, start a new one, and they are trading again. And you see, they have capital. They even market more than the people who are existing and doing clean business. So, as stakeholders in this industry, we have started an association called the Association of Real Estate Stakeholders, where we want to start with self-regulation. We know we can help the government because these people, we know them. And what we are doing is we are bringing everyone to the fold, because we have, in the past, we have been competitors. But now we realize that issues happen when good people keep quiet. You know, you say that's their problem. That company is their own problem. Let them handle it. But you realize you are also affected because this industry runs on trust. It's not like when you are buying a phone, because when you buy a phone, it's over the counter. You pay me, I give you the phone, we are done. In the real estate industry, whether I'm selling houses or plots, I also depend on the government. So even issues of timeline are also dependent by other factor. So I come and sell to a client today, and once I sell, I have to take the documents to the government to process the titles. But in the process, the issue of timeline, you are not able to guarantee 100%. Because sometimes you find the land control board has been disbanded, so that time there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, the registrar is swamped. Another time you hear they are going digital, so there is a disaster they are doing, and therefore things have stalled. And sometimes the clients will be in uproar, but they don't understand behind the scene because I could not finish on the counter. So sometimes it takes time. But the point is, the people who are doing fraud, we know them. So what happened is we have decided to come together as genuine land selling companies and housing companies and developers. We help the government. One, we say we need regulation. And the regulation, the people who knows the problem we are going through is us. So how can we work together with the lawmakers to come up with the regulation and the bill and regulation that can be able to regulate us? Because as much as we want to continue doing business, we cannot allow a few rogue elements to come and destroy the industry. It is, as you know, it's the second biggest contributor of our GDP in this country, the real estate industry. We take over 40% of diaspora remittances in this country. And this is things that spur the economy of our country. So we have said that we are coming together, and we have already started that journey. We are vetting companies, those who are in our association, so that in the future, even when a client goes to buy something, they will first of all ask, you know, the way the Law Society does their thing. You come and ask, are you a member? Because people who are trying to hide, they don't want to be, they don't want anyone to get in their business. They are hiding something. We want to come together, do our own vetting, and then have members who we can hold accountable. And even before anything spill out, we are there telling the government, this company is doing some shady things. So we are the even people who the whistleblower. We are the one who will be the whistleblower. But of course, we also do a lot of mentorship. There are people who have been in the industry for years. Some of the people get in trouble because of lack of knowledge. So we have mentors who have been in the industry for long. We are coming together to mentor the newcomers also in the industry.
Mentorship and self-regulation, that is what Dominic is saying here the industry is doing. We want to take a quick break. When we come back, this conversation continues. Stay with us.
Today is the last supper for some people, and tomorrow before the cock crows, 3 times. Kuna wenye watakuwa wamesema mimi sijui. Mimi sijui. No idea.
Don't want association with the national criminal.
Yes, with the national criminal.
You know, Swahili women don't fight with fists. They normally fight with lessons. So you make them angry, they go inside, they tie the lesson. And then you just read what you want to read to go back in time.
That is so peaceful. I can't say the same for
peaceful war.
Let me not say anything. And that's my community.
The kissing.
How about tonight we...
Have dinner tonight?
Huh? Do you have feelings for me?
Yeah.
Huh?
When exactly are you going to stop avoiding me?
I'm not avoiding you. I'm really busy. Look, he's standing there waiting for me, see?
I don't see him standing there. He isn't there.
Charlene.
No matter what she says now, I won't listen.
Hey, hold on. Now that you've found the Jenny you've been looking for, there shouldn't be any problems left to solve.
Ni kuhusu Mama Jabali.
Usijaribu kutukana mamangu.
She's the greedy one.
And what evidence do you have?
It's written all over her face. It's extremely annoying. Nayo.
Napea Jabali nyumba alafu unasema ni kidogo. Hiyo ni nini kama sitama?
Ni kama inakuwa ngumu kukuelewa. So you're now arguing with me, right? I'm sorry. You're still doing it. What did you just say?
Christine.
Trish! You know, these are some of the reasons why couples hurt each other. Jane, why are men like this?
You just need to sit down and discuss.
Well, that's quite interesting coming from you when you couldn't save your own marriage.
Wow.
Wakili.
Yes.
Tulikuwa na mkutano kweli leo.
Ningempata hapa, angejua leo ni siku yake ya mwisho duniani.
Nilisikia vibaya kwa sababu nilikuwa na mali zangu, lakini venye mama alipasa hawakutaka kunisaidia tena. Pesa usu walikuwa wamesanya, walikula, hawakunitumia. Wakaniambia huku nyumbani saidiwa na mwenye huwa naishi na yeye. Na babu na yeye hakuwa na pesa, alikuwa ashagonjeka, na yeye tu alikuwa ananisupport peke yake. So nika give up hadi venye nilipatana na baba huyo mtoto. Akanidanganya tutaishi na yeye, lakini after 1 year
Thank you for staying with KBC Channel 1. You are watching BizCheck and my name is Betty Kiptum. In studio, we are having a conversation about savings and investments. To be specific, we were just talking about investing in land and property, real estate to be precise. And this conversation, I'm having it with Dominic Mburu. He is the director of Home Point Investments Limited. Dominic, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
Before we went on that break, you were talking about how important mentorship is for entrance in the industry.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sometimes, you know, like any other business, people run into hiccups here and there, and there are also newcomers also in the real estate industry, but there are challenges also in the industry. So what sometimes they lack is the mentorship, because you find a new company run into some financial issues, capital issues, and maybe they have not built even proper credit for the deposits. So they are not even able to have access to capital and stuff like that. They also don't know how to jump the loop and the hoops in the industry. So we have realized, like, we have been here, and you know, like any other industry, instead of, we don't have to be competitors. The housing and shelter is a basic need. So it's not like it's running out. The only challenge is, we know very well that land, they don't make them anymore. So once land is sold somewhere, it's gone.
Yeah.
You miss a plot today here, when it's sold, it's gone. But vehicles they are making. So if you miss the brand today, you buy the next one, maybe even better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah. So other than the fact that land, of course, you can still buy, but you buy more expensive price. We are saying that we want the people who have been there in the industry. They can hold the newcomers' hand and show them how to deliver. Because this is a need that we are solving. We are very important. I've told you the role we play in this industry and also in the economy. So therefore, because of that, then we need to mentor these people. Because even people sometimes who get into problems and who are not able to deliver, it's not by design. Sometimes it's because they didn't know how to run the industry. But unfortunately, you make these mistakes when you have 100 clients. It's not like you are selling in a hardware where you just sold to those people and they are gone. These are people who you have not delivered, for example. So whether it's a genuine mistake or it's a genuine problem, it is affecting other people. And that's why in real estate industry, it is blown out. Because you are not only alone. You are not going through problems alone. When you go through that problem, it affects the people you bought land from and the one you have sold to. So it gets magnified. And what we are saying is that we need mentorship. So we are coming together, the one who have been longer in the industry and the newcomers who are there, and then we can grow together to deliver to our people. Yes.
Coming together to deliver to the people, very important.
Yes.
Of course, the government has been focusing on affordable housing and ensuring that more Kenyans are accessing homes.
Right.
The what is it called? the gap that exists for home ownership in Kenya, or at least shelter for that matter, is about 200,000 annually, you know. So what is the private sector which you're in doing to support this vision, to ensure that more people are accessing homes?
Actually, we are complementing. Before the government thought about affordable housing, we have been doing it over time. And for us, because we are many, and I was even wishing the government, we have been trying to find ways in which we can work together. Because today, if a government wants to acquire land to build affordable housing, first of all, anyone who hears that the government is buying land, immediately everything hikes. So it becomes very expensive even for them to be able to bring up those houses. But for us, for example, we have land, you know, which we bought as companies, as individuals. But when it comes to building houses, there is sometimes where you sell them as vacant. It's because the cost of coming up constructing houses is too high, developing them. So you realize that some of the places you are selling, there is no public facilities, infrastructure is very poor. So if, for example, today I'm to build houses, you have found some developers having to build roads from where the government roads are all the way to their estates. They have to, that one they will put factor into the pricing. They have to do drainage. They have to do sewerage systems. They have to do lighting. So you can imagine if the government, because it has ability to build roads, that's their work. They have ability to distribute electricity as a government project. They have ability to connect people to sewerage systems. If they are able to do, for example, they come and we partner with them, we say you as a developer, so that we have these subsidized houses, you build houses. Yeah, but what we are going to offer you is some tax break here and there on materials. We'll also build this road for you. We'll do the sewerage. You build houses, but we have given you the maximum you can sell this land because we have covered some cost for you. Then you can even be able to sell houses at 999,000 Kenya shillings. Below $1 million, you can have some bungalows you build and you sell to people. And the people can afford that, you know? Because even if today you are selling and people are buying land, the government is selling some affordable housing at 2 million. Not so many Kenyans will afford it. But because even with them, they had to buy land very expensively. But for us, we are able to, we have access to very cheap, low material in our localities. We are even able to go now because of devolution. We don't have to, government is building in Nairobi and major towns. What about people who are living in Thika? What about people who are living in Matu? We can complement them. The government can have their side, they are building. They are complementing us and enabling us to build from our end. And that way we'll be able to achieve the targeted numbers of houses together, because the government will always fall short of the numbers that are necessary. There are even people, not only in Kenya, who need houses, even people in diaspora. They want to come back home and have a place to stay. Yeah. So the issue is the cost of building up, bringing up those houses. Because if I build the road, I have to factor that money. I'm in business. I need some profit. I need also to meet my obligation, financial obligation. So therefore, I will require to factor the cost I put in of sewerage, lighting, the roads and everything into my cost of selling the house. But if the government is able to do that with us, I do believe we will deliver. They will be able even themselves to deliver within a very short period of time the needed quota of houses that they want to deliver to Kenyans.
Yes. Is land overpriced in Kenya?
Not really. I wouldn't think so, because, you know, every commodity is driven by demand and then supply. So as I said from the beginning, land, you know, they don't build anymore. There is no new land coming up. So it is, what is there, it's not a renewable resource. I buy today, if I, for example, I buy 100,000, if you come back, I'll sell to you at 150. If you even sit there and sell to the next person walking by, you sell at 200. And therefore, generally, to drive up the price, you know, based on demand. So I do believe that there was a time, yes, there was a very sharp hike, especially. But unfortunately, everything that is sold has also a ceiling. For example, there are, especially in urban areas, like come here in the city of Nairobi, there are some land, the cost of land last year and this year is the same.
Okay.
Because it reached its ceiling, it has stagnated. Now, even if it goes up, it's in decimals. There are places out there in the counties where land is shooting. Even if you buy at 100,000, you can sell 200 in the next 3 months. You know? Unfortunately, you know, Kenyans will say, I want to buy in Nairobi, so they wait for years to buy in their town. But they realize you may buy today and wait for that land to hike. It may take some time because of also the level it had grown to.
Okay.
You know, it has its ceilings.
Okay.
So that's why we are even encouraging. Sometimes get out of town.
Okay.
Go and buy out there that chunk of land, leave it there. It has higher proportion of growth than even in very developed area. And they usually say, buy and wait. Don't wait to buy.
Okay.
So I don't think it's overpriced. It's driven by demand and the supply. And because it's a non-renewable resource, I think it will even get higher. It's not a bubble.
Yeah.
So it still keep going up.
It will keep going up. So you're saying the counties are the next frontier?
They are, and they have been for the last, I think, 10 years. Yes.
Right. So for Kenyans who are considering this kind of investments, what would be your message to them as they go out there looking?
Say that again.
What is your message to the Kenyans who are maybe considering, so they have different investment opportunities.
Yes.
They have money, they want to invest. Why go for the land or real estate?
I would say this. If for any person or you consider to be wealthy, because land is a sure way of getting wealthy, because you may get some money, you may get liquidity, but if you do research on anyone who is considered wealthy, most of their wealth is in land, is in real estate generally. It tells you the mental disposition of that youth. They will tell you that this is a person, even if they have not made it, they are heading somewhere. Because this is a person who is thinking more about tomorrow than today. Because for you buying land, it's not something that tomorrow, or your friend will find you, you know, they are like seeing you because you don't walk around with titles, the way you walk maybe with a car, because the pressure is on. You find you get your million, you want also to appear, you also mtu anajitambua. So you also want to buy your own car, and that one people will give you accolade because they can see you. Now, when someone takes that million and buy land and still continue walking on foot, this is a person who is very long-sighted, is a visionary. So the reason why we encourage, in fact, we have been targeting our youth. We have land of even up to 150,000, 180,000, 200,000, and our target is the youth because we want to start from the beginning, putting in them the saving and the entrepreneurial space. You tell them to put money somewhere in their account, they go and withdraw and use. So why don't you take this money, buy a plot? You know, a plot is not something you take tomorrow. So they will be, one day maybe they don't have the money, but the investment remain there. If they had money in their account, they'll go and remove it. You know, the pressure will get real and they have to liquidate whatever they had. But when they buy land, that's an investment that is solid and also shows them, you know, when you have title issuing ceremony, you see a youth, some of them are 20 years holding a title, they feel, I thought land is for our parents. I have bought this, it's mine. Then there's nothing I cannot be able to do. So it changes their mentality and their culture of spending, which has been a problem in our country, especially from that young age. So real estate is one of the frontier that also help the government in so many other things in terms of changing the mentality of Kenyans, in terms of saving. And also it's something that you don't have to do anything to. You know, anything, if you buy a car, even if you keep it at home, it will depreciate.
Yes.
You have to do service.
Yes.
Land, you buy it, you leave it. You may go and just plant some few trees there and leave. It grows on its own. So this is something that offhand, it grows in terms of investment. You may be in school, but your land is still there, still appreciating. You may be very busy. There are people who are in Nairobi, they work 8 to 5, they have no breaks. You can buy land and it's still growing on its own. You try to buy, you know, there's someone who was telling me he took a loan, bought some tippers, some lorries, and gave her brother, and they were doing the business there. But by the time she was finishing paying for the loan, there was nothing to show for it. She used all her salary to pay for the loan. The lorry was worn out and got nothing, you know. And the stress of being caught in the middle of the night because they have been arrested, there is an accident here. Land give you a peace of mind. You buy that thing, you buy that house, and then you give people and they rent. They rent out, and then you are making money without being there, without your presence. So it's a sure way of investment, and we encourage as many people, even if you have other kind of investment, do that as you also invest in land.
Diversification, as you said.
Yes.
As a player in the industry, what would you call upon the government to do in terms of the policy and the regulatory framework? What more can they do to support the industry?
I think the most important thing in terms of is in terms of incentives, because if you realize that in the industry, as much as it seems like it has a lot of money, it is one of the heavily taxed industry. You know, you pay the withholding tax at 30%. Nowadays, the capital gain has gone all the way to 15% from 5%. You have to pay stamp duty. So we are paying everywhere, you know. So one of the things that has happened is because of all that, then the properties, you know, you factor all this into the cost of buying properties. And because we realize that this is our basic need, is in the agenda of the government for affordable housing, I think they should be more complementary in how we work together, and also giving some tax break here and there for a bigger good of delivering to the people of Kenya. But also in terms of the regulatory framework, we need the government, because there is a picture that is out there, and I think when some people think about real estate, they think we are deposit taking. And that's why some people will say that you go and deposit 500 million somewhere in our account. If you don't deliver, people are compensated. We are not deposit taking. In fact, as what we do, we give people our land, they pay slowly by slowly. In fact, they are the one who have our property, and then they pay gradually. Not the other way around. People don't come and put money in your account waiting for the day you sell them land. They see first, start paying small. So that's that if the equilibrium is disturbed, the people who suffer most are the land sellers. This one is not said enough. Because someone has paid 80% of it, of almost 60% of the land they have been buying over a period of time. And because they were paying in installment, and they had locked that plot. So you may realize you have sold a whole project. People have paid 20%. So meaning, because you need to go to another project as they pay this one, you have to go to a bank and take a loan, so that they pay as you continue this project. Now when there is an issue, and your clients come when they are paid 60%, and they are asking for their money back. You know, maybe you are a developer, you have built, the houses are halfway, and they're asking back for their money. How do you liquidate, how do you get money to pay them? You know, so that equilibrium needs to be very well maintained, and that's why we need regulation in terms of being able to tame these log people. Because whenever there are issues, for example, anytime there is an issue, even us who are doing genuine business, you realize even your own clients, some of them will tell you, I just felt unsafe, I want my money back. Sometimes you are forced to sell your own things to pay people back their money, just because they just felt there. And whenever the media maybe is pushing those agendas, they affect our business big time, because it is ran on trust. As I told you, it's not like a phone where you sell, you get your receipt, you go home. You figure the media is not pushing any agenda there. No, I just hope so. They're just telling the truth as it is. But when it's pushed on one side, because as we are delivering, maybe we don't see you when we are offering, we're giving titles. They will not come and feature you in the news. You just take one company that is not maybe delivering, and that's what will be ran for days. So what happened? But it has to be said, maybe it's time that the industry relooks the business model. I think the business model, I think in terms of delivery, and there's the government, because if they tell us you'll be delivering titles in a day, in the registry, we'll deliver, you know. And that's why I'm saying it's not an over-the-counter transaction, which you are finishing. I depend on this government, and this government is the one that has not delivered my titles. You know, you wait for days, you are there every day. Sometimes there was a time even you go, for example, to Machakos, they have no electricity. A government institution, they have no electricity for a week. So therefore nothing is being done. Even a search. Nowadays to get a search, you take 3 days. To get a normal search of just seeing whether the land is clean. So there are some things that I think the government should try to streamline, so that we are able to have smooth transaction in land. Okay. Yes. All right. So as we come to a close of the conversation, what would be your closing remarks? My closing remark is that we want to restore confidence in investors, both in Kenya and also in diaspora. And we also want to be a voice, not only for the people who are investors, but also for genuine land companies that are transacting good business, who have fulfilled the dream of many people. Sometimes we are the people who are the carrier of this bottom-up and hustlers' dream, because we are there dealing with Mama Mboga, dealing with the piki people, the boda people. They are there bringing, maybe they took land and they are paying daily. This is not something that could have been done in any other way. So we are there to complement the government, not to compete with it. And when we work together, because we know each other, we can be able to sanitize this industry and deliver to the people. So one thing I want to say to all of us, all those people who are watching us and people who maybe have some misgiving and reservation about investments, we are there, and we have formed an association which you can be able to know that this company that I'm investing in, they have not only are they running independently, they have oversight in terms of other players in the industry. And over time, we are working with the government to come up with proper regulatory framework where everyone is held accountable, and there are also mitigation measures in terms of if one company does the wrong thing in terms of delivering to their clients, we are there to hold them accountable and also to be the whistleblower for some of these things. So we need to restore the confidence in their people so that they can continue to invest without worries, whether they're in Kenya or outside Kenya, and we are there to do that for them.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Dominic.
Thank you.
I have been speaking with Dominic Mburu. He's a director at Home Point Investments. He says that the real estate industry is an industry that is dependent on trust, and they are working tirelessly within the industry itself to ensure self-regulation and weed out the rogue elements within that particular industry to ensure that your investments are safe. Well, this has been BizCheck. My name is Betty Kiptum. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye.
A few years ago, during one of Muthoni's visits to her rural home in Karatina, Nyeri County, she realized how farmers were investing in the growing of pepino melons, but only getting frustrated at harvest time when the produce will just rot in the shamba for lack of markets.
All I wanted was the farmers to have a market for their produce, because if someone is adding value, that means they're going to buy in bulk, and at the same time, you'll have people consume the same fruit with the same health benefits, but in different forms.
This was the inspiration for her final year project at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, where she was enrolled for the Bachelor of Science in Food Science and Technology.
By final year, I did a project on the value addition of a fruit that goes by the name pepino melon. From the pepino melon, I made a juice, I made a jam, I made a marmalade, and I made a wine.
Today, she makes a living from utilizing neglected and underutilized fruits like pepino and the white sapota to make juice and blended porridge.
For the tubers, we've made a blend of the tubers to make power uji, which we fortify with seeds and nuts. For the tubers, we've also made several dishes from the same.
Juice being a luxury for most people, Muthoni has had to devise ways of making products in a unique way, like fermenting fruit juice to make energy drinks.
I believe in exploring even more fruits. Right now I'm working on plantain wine.